Welcome back to The Explainer, right here on my YouTube channel, The Perennial Truth. I am seriously so excited you're joining me today because we're about to dive into this absolutely mind-bending new report from Alvarez Consulting. It's one of those documents that completely shifts how you look at pop culture. The report basically argues that our favorite blockbuster movies, the ones we're watching with a giant bucket of popcorn on a Friday night, are secretly hiding ancient, suppressed spiritual wisdom. We are talking about deep, esoteric teachings that have literally been hidden for centuries, just playing out right in front of us in IMAX.
The report opens with this incredibly powerful quote. "The truth does not hide, it wears a costume. Every age cloaks its deepest wisdom in the most popular stories of its time." I absolutely love this framing. It perfectly sets up the premise of our entire explainer today. The profound truths of the universe, they haven't just disappeared. They weren't totally erased. They just migrated. They moved out of the ancient temples and right into pop culture, dressing up in superhero capes and spacesuits to reach us.
Now, if you think this is just some niche, internet forum conspiracy theory, think again. $50 billion. That is how much Alvarez Consulting points out that esoteric-coded movie franchises have raked in globally. $50 billion. To put that into perspective, that means this hidden knowledge isn't just some fun little Easter egg for philosophy nerds. It's fundamentally resonating with massive global audiences. People are literally paying billions of dollars to subconsciously consume these ancient teachings.
Okay, moving on to Section 1, the Hollywood Mystery School. In the ancient world, you had these mystery schools, highly secretive organizations where initiates would go to learn the true nature of reality. The Alvarez report suggests that today, your local multiplex is serving that exact same function. And it operates through a concept called Anamnesis. This is a Platonic and Gnostic term for the soul remembering a deep universal truth it already inherently knows. So the researchers argue that when a movie scene gives you full-body chills, say when Neo finally stops those bullets, it's not just because of the great CGI or the musical score. It's anamnesis. It's your soul literally recognizing a forgotten truth playing out on screen.
Let's get right into Section 2, decoding blockbuster esoteric themes. What's truly wild here is how the report proves this by mapping specific ancient philosophies directly onto massive cinematic franchises. They pulled the receipts, showing exactly how ancient themes are the exact plot lines of today's biggest hits. Take a foundational Gnostic concept called the Demiurge. In Gnostic teachings, the Demiurge is this oppressive force, a false creator who builds a fake, material reality just to keep humanity asleep and trap the divine spark. It's basically the ultimate illusion designed for control.
And this brilliantly illustrates how that ancient concept translates directly to modern screens. Just think about The Matrix or The Truman Show. Neo breaking out of the simulated world created by the machines, or Truman escaping that massive TV dome run by Christoph. These are the exact same stories as the ancient soul breaking free from the Demiurge's illusions. The terminology changed, sure, but the architecture of the story, perfectly intact.
We see this exact same thing with the ancient Vedic concept of universal interconnection, which is known as Indra's net, or the Akashic field. It's this idea that the universe is a vast web where every single node reflects every other, and separation is just an illusion. Well, this ancient truth is perfectly visualized in James Cameron's Avatar as Awa. Awa is literally a planetary neural network, a biological Indra's net that the Na'vi plug into.
The report also goes into the classic initiatory journey found in ancient mystery schools. The steps are always exactly the same: separation from the ordinary world, a descent or symbolic death, and then rebirth and illumination. This is exactly why in Batman Begins, Bruce Wayne literally descends into a dark pit to symbolically die as a broken man just to be reborn as Batman. It is a textbook, ancient initiation ritual completely disguised as a superhero origin story.
Which brings us to Section 3, the suppressed ancient wisdom.
All of this naturally makes you wonder, if these teachings are so profound, why on earth did they end up in superhero movies instead of mainstream religious institutions? Well, according to the research, there was a massive historical suppression that occurred over millennia. The turning point peaked around the Second Council of Constantinople in 553 AD. Powerful religious institutions systematically purged these esoteric teachings to consolidate control. Doctrines like the pre-existence of the soul, outright banned, declared heretical, and completely erased from the public eye.
The data on this is absolutely fascinating. When we look side by side at exactly what doctrines were erased, we see modern films systematically restoring them.
Organized religion removed universal salvation, the divine feminine, and direct gnosis, which is the idea that you can experience the divine directly without a priest as a middleman. But cinema brings it all back. Avengers Endgame restores the theme of ultimate cosmic salvation. Moana brings back the primordial divine feminine. Doctor Strange restores the pursuit of direct gnosis. Hollywood essentially stepped in and filled the vacuum.
All right, Section 4, Conscious Architects versus the Collective Unconscious.
So are directors actually doing this on purpose? Like, are they sitting in writers' rooms poring over ancient Gnostic texts? The researchers highlight a split here. On one hand, you definitely have conscious encoding. Filmmakers like the Wachowskis or Christopher Nolan deliberately study esoteric text and transpersonal philosophy to build their narratives. But on the other hand, you have unconscious transmission. This is when creators, whether they realize it or not, tap into Carl Jung's collective unconscious, basically channeling humanity's shared archetypal bedrock.
Ultimately, cinema succeeds where institutions fail precisely because it operates with absolute freedom. Think about it. A filmmaker isn't going to be excommunicated for showing universal salvation in a Marvel movie. Storytelling effortlessly bypasses our ego and all our defensive filters. It operates completely outside institutional hierarchy and reaches billions of people. It lets the ultimate truth slip right past our defenses simply because it's wearing a cape or holding a lightsaber.
Finally, Section 5, Cinema as Sacred Text.
Moving to our final synthesis, the Alvarez report makes a really bold, paradigm-shifting claim. Cinema is the modern world's sacred text. Historically, every era had its own vehicle for sacred knowledge. In the tribal era, it was myth and ritual. In the medieval era, cathedrals literally encoded esoteric teachings into their stained glass for anyone with the eyes to see it. Today, our modern equivalents are franchise mythologies and massive cinematic world-building. Exploring the sands of Arrakis and Dune serves the exact same function today that gazing at a cathedral's sacred geometry did for a medieval peasant.
And the environment itself? It's literally a ritual. The physical act of sitting down in a dark theater, letting your guard down, and totally surrendering your critical mind to the story, it perfectly replicates the psychological conditions of an ancient mystery school initiation. You're in a state of sensory focus and collective vulnerability. You are primed and ready to receive a transmission.
So the curriculum of the universe never actually stopped. It just adapted. The institution was never the point anyway. The truth was. Which leaves us with this final, provocative question. What hidden truth will you recognize the next time you sit in the dark and that screen lights up? Definitely something to think about next time you buy a movie ticket. Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer here on The Perennial Truth. Keep your eyes open, and I'll catch you in the next one.